So good evening and welcome to the Donny Chaingang with me, Matt Payne, live on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel. We're here all the way through tonight's ride, trying to keep up with who's doing what, where they are, and what they're up to out on the course. We've got a whole load of Veloskin ambassadors join us, including Archie Atkinson, who's one of our paracyclists representing Great Britain. Great to have him on board, and it really is going to be a really interesting ride, because not only have we got lots of ambassadors, we've got a giveaway from Veloskin, who are sponsoring Veloskin Training Camp Week with lots of riders abroad. We thought we'd have a quiet week. We haven't. It is going to be absolutely packed tonight on the ride. And we're on an absolutely different course to anything we've done before, because we've never been on to this particular course. What would be more appropriate than chasing the sun in terms of getting away at the moment? Really envious of all those pictures on training camps. Now, one man who is not on a training camp is Russ. We're going to dive in with Russ in a moment. But before we do that, we're going to get ourselves up and running with the random number generator and give away more prizes to members of the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. Now, for those of you just watching, maybe just tuning in, a real simple concept. The Chaingang, run by Russ and myself, basically we wear stuff out quite a lot doing this. It takes quite a lot of time. Spend a lot of time looking up people's tech. We also, of course, need things to keep the game running and to bring you the broadcast, everything from multiple internet lines right the way through to new cables and monitors and even keyboards, which to be quite frank, are starting to get this new one just getting past its best. You can actually tell that the number 8 is the key that we actually use quite a lot when we're watching people here, because it's just falling apart a little bit on the keyboard. So that's going to be the next thing that the Chaingang is going to pay for, because we wear it out. It is that simple. So a big thank you to everybody who joins. Basically, by joining for the month, your funds go into just keeping the show on the road and keeping the wheels turning. And to say thank you, Russ and I know as tight Yorkshiremen, you don't get out for now. We say thank you. We've got some great deals tied in with the supporters of the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, and they are looking after our riders from coffee, sunglasses, Oakleys, right the way through to clothes, wheels, you name it. And of course, things to keep you in tip-top condition as well, including Veloskin. The Veloskin looking after our riders with a great giveaway this time round. Now, we've already had 3 winners with Steve Cannon, Miss Cookie, and Chris. Of course, giving away stuff to Andrew Edwards as well. Chris Hydell and the gang from Veloskin looking after our 3 winners so far. Now we've got 3 more to go. The question is going to be, who will it be? Well, all of our riders who are members of the gang get given a number, and that translates to a number just over there. And when we press the stop button, it's really simple. So it will randomly stop on a number, and that will translate to one of our members. And then we'll press start, and we'll get another one. It's one rider, one prize. So it does mean if you've won during the course of the week, you're not going to win again. If we do drop onto a number twice by some random fluke, then we'll just press the number once again. So 3 more great travel packs, ideal for going past airport security and not getting stopped with a big tin of the best stuff in the business. So if you want to get your white stuff through, put it in a sachet, don't put it in a big tin. And the travel pack's enough for 7 days going out, as well as a bottle of bidon going out to our riders. So let's first of all stop the number generator. It's number 66, Tim Baggs. Tim, you are the 4th of our winners, the first today. So Tim Baggs is going to be our next rider, who's going to get goodies from Veloskin. So congratulations to Tim. I'm going to press the button again, and we'll see where that's going to stop. Who's going to get the second of those prizes? Remember, 3 packs going out today. It's going to be number 70, Trevor Crehan. Trevor, a long-time supporter of the Donny Chaingang. So Trevor going to be taking the 5th. And we've got 1 more pack to go. So let's start that generator up and rolling again. So 1 more travel pack to go out to the members of the DCG gang. We're going to hit that button once more, and that is going to drop us into At number 67, we're all up in the 60s today, and that is going to be Tim Cooper. So Tim, a man who probably needs to sit more comfortable than most at the moment, is our last winner. So Tim Cooper, so Tim Baggs, Tim Cooper, and Trevor Crehan today, which means that we can head across, and we're going to have a very quick chat with the one and only Bear. Russ Downing joining us on the Chaingang once again. And I'm hoping, as the riders get ready to roll out, he's sitting comfortably and all ready to go. So, Russ, how are you doing? Are you sitting comfortably and all ready to ride? Because we're on the last few seconds of countdown.
Yeah, I've stuck a good 35-minute warm-up in, so I'm not quite sure what's wrong with me.
Excellent. Careful. Well, you might need it tonight because it's quite a lumpy route. We'll show people details of where we're going in a moment on the YouTube feed, but we couldn't resist chasing the sun on a training camp sponsored week, and 6 members of the gang getting training camp travel packs as well from Veloskin, so great to see those going out, and hopefully some more comfortable members out there.
Yeah, it's been a great week, supported by Veloskin, and I think we all need a bit of sun. There's certain lucky people are out there now and missing the gang, so yeah, stop posting your pictures, please, wherever you are. And, let us get on with the online stuff.
Excellent. Got to say, the riders, it's really good to see. We got some ambassadors in. Got Archie Atkins, really busy answering questions already. And I think the ultimate is the joke in the squad. There's no such thing as a bad crash, just a chance for a reclassification. Well, that could be very entertaining for some of the riders. Not so entertaining if you're the one on the deck, but we got a big squad of riders heading out well over that 100 marker. And looks like everybody pretty keen to get out of the blocks. But everyone should know the score by now, sticking around yellow.
Yeah, whatever Archie's doing, he's doing it well. He went straight out of the box. I think he thought he was doing individual pursuit or something there. Like he heard the beeps and he was off ski like. So chill out, mate. Well, you'll get a good workout. Don't worry.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just watching a few people just jumping on the back. Barry Kipling just trying to hurtle out of the gates at pace. As our riders come through. And this, for everybody listening, before we go any further, quick reminder, one lap plus another 7K today of this circuit. So we're just going under the banner now, the riders. It's going to be 1 lap plus another 7K, which means a finish at the top of the rooftop climb on the second time we go up there. We're going to do the first one quite early in the ride, and then the second one will be the time that we finish up there, with a big hill in between out in the wilds of Makuri Island. So going to be a busy night out there. I think you might have your hands full, Russ.
Standard, mate, isn't it? Tuesday, Thursdays, whatever other day we jump on here. So yeah. But I said big numbers, so let's just behave. Let's have a look at this climb here, because this is where we're going to finish. So first time up it, we can have a recon, up to the rooftops, have a look. Then we go over, like say, one in the middle of nowhere, up a dusty track. Do we change his bikes? Do we do whatever? But we get over that, back down to the finish line, and then, well, not the finish line, the banner line, and then we go up to the rooftop, which is our finish line.
Indeed, and then a warm down on the other side. And I've actually reconned this, so I didn't change bike, and I did a red beacon pace, and it should fall nicely in our usual timing window. So we'll see how you get on tonight. Good luck, Russ. We'll hopefully catch up with you not on the climb, maybe on the flatlands as we go out through Makuri Islands. You never know.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea. Don't be ringing me as we're going up a gravel uphill. That's horrible.
It would indeed be horrible. So whilst the riders get settled in, we're going to jump in and on to the mountain. Russ is going to get riding. Cheers, Russ.
That's like riding down Donny High Street there. There's bodies everywhere.
So it's about right, isn't it?
Pedestrianised everything now, aren't they?
It sounds like it. It sounds like it. Right, we're going to jump straight across and go over to the map. Let's show you very, very briefly where we're heading. We're going out. It's a 35k circuit, and chasing the sun with 7k to finish. So we weave our way through Neokyo and then head out to Makuri Islands, making our way up the big climb that's out by the lake. You see the blue dot moving its way around the Zwift Hacks map, going up that big gravel climb. We then drop down, come back into the Neo Tokyo, before coming back up the climb to finish on the reverse rooftop KOM. Now, Stephen Ellis is our red beacon, and he's going to be watching. Our last rider actually on the road is Alistair Cootie, purple Roddy Dale Williams, Ash Dowtry just at the back, just all coming together nicely. And Stephen Ellis, a very experienced rider. Definitely one of the people that we know knows exactly how to ride the Chaingang inside out, and let's see just how they get on out there on the roads. Now, we talk about the climb to finish. Let's show you, courtesy of the brand new Velo Viewer profile, exactly what this course looks like. We've done it in 2D to make this a little bit simpler, because it is a very wiggly course. We've flattened it out. So from our start, our rider's just riding down through Neokyo, and each of the vertical bars is actually at 2k in the paler bars. It gives you an indication just how far it is. We come up over the rooftop KOM. It's actually the reverse KOM, but we go through that rooftop arch KOM. We drop down, go out into Makuri Islands. You can see the Temple KOM. That is our big climb in the middle. Drop it off the other side, and then making our way around to finish the lap, coming back into Neokyo. Then we go back onto the climb of rooftop KOM to finish, and it should finish at 42.1 kilometres. A massive thank you to Ben, working on the new routes super fast and getting all of that dialed. So without further ado, let's just head out on to the Chaingang. It looks like pretty much the back of the group are pretty much all stitched nicely together. Just looks like our beacon, just keeping an eye on where everybody is just on the back. One or two late joiners. So let's dive in with the Donny Chaingang on the ride in Chasing the Sun. And I've just seen Mr. Chris Iredale, so I think we may well be joining in with the boss of Veloskin. So here we are on the Donny Chaingang on Veloskin training camp week, and here we go. It is Chris Iredale that we are watching at the moment. And if we take a little bit of a zoom in, Chris on the deep rims today, and this is the man who's going to be handing out the goodies. He's playing Santa with all of the Veloskin goodies. He'll be sending those out to our winners, our 6 winners. Congratulations to Tim Cooper, Tim Baggs, Trevor Creeham, Miss Cookie, as well as I think Steve Cannon. And if I remember correctly, it's Alistair Cootie, our 6 winners. That's done off the top of my memory. It's always dangerous. Now, let's have a look. Looks like the gang are just a little detached off the back, so time to just squeeze on going. Just seen 1 or 2 late joiners just popping in. I think I've just seen Sonia Inslee diving into the pack. Looks like Ash Dowtry on the back now, and this is where we start to make our way up towards the KOM. And making our way up. Remember, the very first time up here is a recon for our riders at the finish, because remember, this is our climb when we come up to finish next time round. That gang riding well. Let's jump in with our red beacon. It is, of course, Steve Ellis. So Steve taking on the duties and just keeping a check on those riders behind. Remember, we are on over 100 riders. So if you're not in the pack, if you drop off the back by any distance, please let us know, particularly if you're not finishing, because we need to make sure that we try and catch hold of everybody. So remember, we are going to be going up the finishing climb. We're going to make our way up above the streets. We go all the way up to the rooftop KOM, and the riders at the moment just making the way in and across. Now, this is really tricky to keep a track of when you're out and riding. We head out and over the sprints up onto the climb, and it is absolutely key to make sure that you stay tight in with the riders around yellow. Just watching the gang are working the way in and along. It's looking pretty smooth at the moment. It is all about staying around that yellow beacon at the moment, making sure that you don't get distanced too far. Just seen Mr. Hubbard just dropped off the back of the pack there, riding of course for the Wahoo Lacole squad. Another of the riders joining us. We've got lots of ambassadors coming on from the Veloskin guys. They do a lot of the looking after the riders, and remember, our riders who are out on circuit have got a real tough climb coming up. We're going to go right up to the top of that rooftop KOM, and that comes in. It hits the top of that at 7Ks into the circuit. This is where we'll get a good indication whether the mass is going to work out correctly. We have actually test ridden this a couple of times, and if anybody has been watching the feed, I've been keeping an eye on my Zwift or on my Strava. Not everything goes on there deliberately, because there are some things that we have to just deliberately avoid putting on there. Some of the things that we just wanted to keep quiet, but a number of people will have seen when I actually went out and recorded it. So the sprint arch is not the finish. If you're not watching live, well, you don't get all the information. Remember, of course, key to getting that information, if you join the Donny Chaingang, the DCG gang, then the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, then you get a heads up of where all the routes finish. You get the links before everybody. So please, guys, make sure you get on. I'm loving the fact that actually says if you saw on Strava, it didn't happen. That's kind of the plan. We don't want people knowing exactly where we're headed for all of our routes. It's the easy way to stalk people and find out where the routes we're heading. If you are good with your spying on where we head out, particularly when new routes are launched. We have actually got another few new ones up our sleeve. In fact, some of them have got so new we're not even allowed to put them into the events. We keep on getting some bounce back at us at the moment because they are so new. Now, just a quick reminder, please, guys. Russ calling the shots in the yellow. Please, guys, make sure that you pull yourselves into the gang. So the riders are now starting to take the next twist and turn already up on to the rooftops. Looks like it's just starting to bunch up a little bit. As this group comes in at the moment, our red beacon about 6 seconds back from the very front of that group. We're just seeing Archie here as we start to hit the hills. Hopefully his bike's going to hold together. Archie, one of our paracyclist riders, and at the moment is just sitting at about 2.5 watts per kilo. We've got Mr. Potts in there. So the gang are going well. So we've got our red beacon just on the back, and this is where you're going to start to see these riders making their way from rooftop to rooftop, zigzagging the way around these turns. And you can see it at the moment. We're steadily climbing height, currently about 5% gradient as we come through. And this really is a steppy climb, really steppy climb. So it levels, it has an increase in gradient, it levels again, another increase in gradient. It is really tough stuff. So going to be really interesting how the riders deal with this, and if they manage to keep the group together. And just watching the gang working well. The red beacon just keeping a check on people. There need to be a regroup, I suspect, when we get to the top, because if we go too fast over the top, then we are going to start to drop people. Now, just seeing lots of shouts about the bikes, the team's bike. So Joe Wilson, I think it is, with the new Ribble team bike. Just having a quick check as we go through the riders around those zigzag turns at the moment. And the group holding together. We're just currently, if we take our drone cam up in the air, coming up and around this long sweeping bypass section. But we're soon going to hit another little diversion coming off as we continue to head up. We're now going to come across. So here we go, the team coming up and the gang coming on the corner, taking that little right-hand turn. So here we go, starting to work our way up along this cobbled section, this flag section. Just pushing up over here. Now you can just see this gradient at 6%. These riders getting to test this out as they come up, taking this left-hand turn, this sweeping turn through the Japanese gardens here in Neokyo, and then coming up once again. Remember, this is a dummy run for our run in and through the finish. As we come in at the end, it should hit the top at 7Ks if we get that right. So just a reminder, please, guys, if you are at the front, you need to be easing it off as you go over. It is going to be really, really busy. You can only see 100 riders. If you're at the front, you won't see the back. You will be able to see the yellow beacon and the red beacon on your map. So there are no excuses. Oh, I couldn't see anything. So a quick reminder, please, guys, make sure that you hold in with the yellow beacon. That's why we have the T's and C's that you all signed up for. It means we can ban you. It's really simple. And we do. Haven't banned anybody for a few weeks. It could be a record. So a quick reminder, guys, sit tight with that beacon. Currently front to back in the group is actually not much more than about 10 or 11 seconds. That's actually with the size of bunch that we've got rolling at the moment is going to be about right. So we're just going to watch our riders coming in and through. Remember, this is where we get to the top of the ascent. We're going to be heading down the far side. So time to jump in to the back of the group. Please make sure, guys, you get on there nice and tight. So this will be the finish line next time through as we come underneath that banner. So that is the first time we've just gone in and through the finish line. The finish line is that red banner. So Russ about to hit the conversation and call our riders in and back. Our riders are now on this so-called descent. I say so-called descent, so it is 1 lap to go. Our official map counter, Mr. Donny, is not going to have too much work to do today because that was the 1 lap to go point as we went in over the top there. And you can see just how fast the group will spread out. But if we're on our way down, you can just see the gang making the way down in through Neokyo and going to be heading down, weaving their way in through these twists and turns. I'm going to take advantage of this. It's a little bit dehydrated today, so we've got the old OTE on the go as well. The hydro tabs keeping commentators refueled as well as the Chaingang. Worth its weight in gold, that stuff, that is for sure. Never mind when you're riding, it's also when you're doing the talking too. So the gang just descending down now off the top of the climb, making the way down. You can just see those beacons tucked in with the group at the moment. Just about everybody managing to stay on the roadways. We're still quite a long way up in the air at the moment. If we just drop the map back in again, you see we've still got a couple of twists and turns as we drop down. So we're going to be making our way down here. We head in through towards Makuri Island, proper the old Makuri Islands prior to the Neokyo expansion. And then we start to make our way in to the gravel climb, the big climb of the day, which comes in at about half ride distance before dropping off that gravel climb back down into Neokyo and then having that final climb back up. So just taking a little bit of a check. Looks like the gang all backing off, getting the group back together again. The snake that opened up over the top of the gang, just over the top of the group, just starting to reform. It is a little roller coaster as you come in and through. We can just see people just get themselves tucked in with the group here. Keyworth just pushing on. Looks like Steve Cannon's just having to squeeze on here. I think it's going to be Atkinson and Pattison are the back of the group. Really tricky for our red beacons when it's a course like this, because if the red beacon squeezes to the back of the group, he'll see the group, not the people off the back. If he goes off the back of the group, then what will happen is the red beacon can't get any kind of tow, and it becomes an incredibly very difficult ride on their own. Now, just seeing Mr. Wilson just pushing on from the back here. He should be doing some squeezing on. The group definitely not all together, Mr. Dunn, I'm afraid. You might think it is, but that's only because you can only see 100 riders at a time. So the group starting to push its way in, but still a number of riders distanced at the back of the pack, and you just see the red beacon or just dropping off the back. So Gary Pattison just working his way towards the back of that group. So we're just going to let the maps sort of wiggle themselves out. Just sitting in with Gary just squeezing his way into this group. It looks like we've got about 8 to 9 seconds from the back of the group to the very front of the group. You can just see up in the distance our red beacon as well as Gary at a distance from that front pack. So that's red beacon just trying to push on at the back of the pack. That gap currently sitting at about 9 seconds from Gary to the group at the front. I'm just going to take a little bit of a jump up to Mr. Dowtree, who's just squeezing onto the back of the group, just going onto the back with Steve Ellis. So Gary just working his way in through the arcades. Watch out for the Zwift test bikes at the side of the arcades. This is a proper arcade. It actually has its own little Zwift machines that you can actually try out in the arcade as well. Our riders just coming in and through those twists and turns. You just see one of the Zwift test bikes out on the side of the arcade there. As we are just seeing Gary squeeze through this arcade. It's actually a little bit less manic if we go through with one rider or two riders rather than with the main bunch. So Gary, that's it, the left-hand turn. That gap's still currently sitting at 9 seconds. Going to need to have, I think, a few riders start to head back for Gary's going to have a very tough ride. He's currently pushing 3.5 watts per kilo, but at the moment, the group at the front needs to send a few breadcrumbs back, I think, to pick up the riders behind. So just seeing Keith Richardson just starting to drop back a little bit. He's cutting it 8 seconds. There's a breakthrough, just keeping an eye on those timing gaps. You can see here, this is the issue. If you don't jump in. If you're not on those wheels, the moment it goes downhill, you get in trouble really, really quickly. Remember, you have 30 minutes of late join, so you can jump out and jump back in again. And sometimes that is actually the easier option than trying to chase solo onto the back of the group at the start. If you get distance, if you have a dropout, then key is to jump in and regain that group. So the gang are just working its way through. Currently 12 seconds, 13 seconds now, so that gap is going out. So just watching Kirkham now, just distance from that main group. He's still in front of Pattinson. Pattinson going to be sitting at 15 seconds. We're going to just get him dropping in, hopefully, as they come in and through. Very difficult to see the front of the group going in and through, but Pattinson, I think it is, at the back of that group, being a distance the front of this group, just ticking along at the moment, not going particularly mad in terms of numbers, but the volume of riders just keeps that pace super high. You can just see as we work our way through this group, a very, very fast moving group already through the things and heading out into the Makuri Islands area. Remember, the screen game only rendering the nearest 100 riders. That's what makes it so difficult for our riders to keep check of where everybody is. Wayne Bart back with us. Good to have Wayne back on the gang. Wayne need to squeeze on. Now just hitting the gravel because the resistance under the wheel should be increasing as they come in and along this section. Looks like some people just doing laps there at the front as we come around the junction. So just heading over the folding mat, which is where you see the time gaps jumping all over the place at the side of the course there. So into the countryside we go, and we're going to head along the valley bottom. Essentially, all the right-hand turns head uphill for our riders. They go in and along. They're staying down in that valley bottom, making the way down in and through. Just sitting with Daryl Tashul-Waller, just sitting off the back of this group, just stretching his legs a little at the moment. So Matlin just dropping down and just pushing on to the back of that group. Just squeezing his way on. Our official lap score on the way through, just getting a little bit of a workout off the back of the group. That's a key place. You see Genther working his way in and around the back there. As these riders disappear around, we're just going to do a little bit of a drop back to our rider because we're just going to take a check on where everybody is. It's easier said than done, but we are looking for one particular man. Here he is. So Mr. Patterson, he's not on his own. So the back of the ride at the moment is going to be Kirkham and Patterson, who are just ticking in together. So it is Patterson and Kirkham, the two riders who are just in at about 15k marker. So Kirkham and Patterson, if they get themselves good, that'll be a good group of two. So Gary did a great ride here, currently sitting at 30 seconds. He's not losing much ground here. It's going to be a solo ride at the moment after being let go by the bunch. Not sure what Gary did to deserve that on the way through, but the entire bunch just riding off and away, leaving Gary on the section over the top of the climb and dropping back down in. And leaving Gary on his own. So it looks like Gary getting a solo workout on the way through. So good to get the away from Gary doing a great row. Got him up on our companion app, which is going to be set on Gary for the duration by the look of it. Going to be keeping an eye on it. Now just watching the riders at the back of the pack just steadily making the way in. This is what's known as the countryside sprint. It is right out in the fields at the moment. Looks like everybody rolling out nicely out there. The helicopter just keeping the track of these riders as they come in and through. And at the moment, that's Park, the main bunch at the front, holding together well. Seems to have settled down after that initial kick up through over the top of the hills. You can see on the map, top right-hand side, the return route coming back across. So with the Mount Fuji replica in the distance behind our riders on Donny Chaingang here on the Veloskin training camp a week, making the way in through these twists and turns. And you can just see leaving that sprint line behind. The back of this group being patrolled by our red beacon Steve Ellis, Russ, our yellow beacon right in the middle. And everyone wanted to hold in with that group. Looks like no volunteers going back for Gary, which now means that he's going to be on his own for the ride. Unusual for that to happen, but it just shows you the pace. Nobody going too mad anywhere, just the pace of the car. You've got to sit in the group. If you lose wheel, just like in real life, you're going to be having a quiet ride out on your own, and that's definitely when you want to be sitting comfy and able to settle into a good pace. I think by the end, though, there'll be some soothing gel going out and being in use from Gary on the way through. Gary, of course, a member of the DCG gang, one of those people who get the extra discount. Remember, there's 20% discount for members of the DCG gang on Veloskin products. If you remember that DCG gang, make sure you use those discount codes. 25% off OTE, 20% on Veloskin, 10% on gritty products, on coffee from Grand Tour, coffee on Halo or wheels and equipment, as well as a pack from them. So loads of great offers, of course, looked after everywhere from Nonnas right the way through to Cycle Espresso stores. So don't forget, guys, make sure you join up, help the people who support the gang. Make sure you get that membership and use those discount codes. They're there for using. It's all good for you if you're getting that benefit, and you can soon get your membership back. Certainly the rate I can guzzle OTE bars, we get our membership back in this household very fast indeed. So now on the pull in towards the lower village at the moment. This is the first of the villages that we come to along the way here, and this is Village Onsen. So just coming through Village Onsen, and then we go through the fishing village, then into the climb proper. So the gang steadily working the way in and through, and soon going to be picking up those riders here. They come out of the turns out in towards the main part of the village, coming in through the arch. They're going to go straight the way through here, no deviations out around. Lots of the routes in Makuri Islands using this section of the course, and as we go underneath the lanterns at the moment, and the gang holding it together well. So just say so, just hovering at the back at the moment. Just have Jeff in on the gang once again. So out from the village, out from Awesome Village, we're going to come down through the village and in towards, down through the fishing village, in towards the climb for the first time. Are we going to see anybody make the call and change bikes? So far, apart from a couple of gravel sections, a couple of very small 100 metres or so gravel sections, this has all been road bike territory. It's all been about getting the fastest, smoothest bike. Yes, you might want lighter wheels to go up the climb, but when you come dropping down the descent, you might have wanted a disc wheel as Russ's favourite tactic. But of course, once we hit this gravel climb, this climb is long enough that if you're fast on your changeover, you can actually make a difference by changing to a gravel bike on the climb, and then doing the climb on a gravel bike, then switching back to a road bike up at the top. Not against the rules, but you do lose time each time you switch, so you've got to be super, super fast at doing so. Put real cyclocross style change. Will we see any of the riders choosing to do so? We've got some classic cross riders. We've got Rick Taylor in here, one of our regular cross riders I've seen kicking about in here. Nick Dorsey, of course, one of our real regular cross riders as well. But plenty of multi-sport riders in there. You can see we've got Joe Munden in here. So Joe, one of our real fast sprint finishers on the WOW DCG. Remember, next WOW DCG is on Wednesday. And that is going to be in conjunction with the Women in Cycling, and it is going to be as part of celebrating International Women's Day. And of course, we have a Women's Cycling chat by our WOW DCG boss, that is Emma, who is going to be over, oddly enough, doing a Q&A in the pub on Monday night in Sheffield. So make sure you go to the WIC Festival on the social media to get all of the details of that and all of the rides, everything from mountain biking rides onwards. Now, riders over the first of the wooden bridges now starting to make the way into the little island in the middle here. This is all past the fishing village, basically out to the right-hand side of the riders. This is where our riders are starting to hit the slopes, just in 3%, top right-hand side of your screens. And you can just see at the moment the back of this group just rolling around the back. Looks like Antonio Donny on the back of that pack, just dropping down. He has got riders behind him. In the shape of Gary Patterson. Gary just making his way in and through, about 30 seconds down at the moment, so plenty of company for Antonio as he goes in and through. Now in through over the top of the fishing fleet, over the top of the fishing village. You can just going past the lighthouse now, and then we're going to land on the far shore as we come across over the top of the lake. And then we're going to start to make our way in towards the climb proper and on to that gravel ascent. Watch for the dust being kicked up, watch for the twists and turns and the steep, nasty sections as they go up. At the moment, the riders are still making their way in towards that gravel turn, just riding in with Alistair Cootie. It's the left turn coming up, you see it on your map. And it's going to come up very, very fast indeed. This is where we head away from those lakes at the bottom, and we start to basically keeping to the left-hand side. This runs the perimeter, basically, of the Makuri Island side of the island away from Nyokio. Now, riders are about to take that turning, so in they go. Take that left-hand turn into the dust, and they're on the gravel. So, timer, then this will teach you to talk about the Sickle Classic. The dust is up. This is going to be where things get interesting. This is a long, long climb up to the top of the temple, and this is very, very tough indeed. Our riders making the way in the dust and the dirt at the moment, and you can just see this group still together at the moment. We're just rolling through at pace, but that gradient will kick in, and when it does, I expect to see this group start to get distance. Remember, we're currently coming up to 37.5 minutes with 21k, 42k in so far. So we're going to start seeing this taking its toll on the riders at the moment. So it looks like Ellis at the moment just dropping off the back of that rather fast-moving group here. There is some serious pace up on the front. Now I think still going to see Gary and Gang behind, starting to punch tickets as they come in through. Tony and Donny going off as well. Remember, of course, we only get to see the nearest 100 riders. Steve, good luck, mate. You're going to be watching the Gang. So Ash just behind Claire, Claire just tucked in nicely onto the back of that group. You can see the dust and the dirt at the moment, just held down by the bamboo and held in to those bamboo roots. Remember, this is the climb we're just in with Archie Atkinson, who is just tucked in to the group as we come up on the climb. Archie going for a set of Roval climbing wheels on here. Interesting that he's alongside some disc wheels here, which is going to be interesting. The run back looks to me like Jimmy Allen, the Wolf, the man who'll be taking over Russ's spot, going for a relatively lightweight aero frame, but going for the disc wheel on the back and the aero deep rim on the front, because it's a long, long run back. Our riders at the moment coming up to the junction. We have actually used this junction before on Kappa Quest, going across and doing this as a figure of 8, but at the moment we are now starting to squeeze our way up through the dust and dirt. We've got the long climb up to the giant tree up at the top, Tree of Life, right at the very, very top of the Gang, and good to see that Jimmy Allen's got a cunning plan to have disc wheel on. The run back is downhill, it's fast, and then we've got that final climb. Will it be the day of the Wolf? At the moment, you can just see this Gang working well, and we're just seeing people just start to get distance here. Toppling, Dowtree, Kerrigan in here. Going to have Ken back in with us. Stefano, remember Stefano Barali and all of the Gang at the team of the Nonna's going to be looking after our riders on DCG Gang. Exclusive giveaway is going to be coming up in the middle of the month with Nonnas, and of course then we're going to be moving on to the gritty one at the very end of the month. So the shout coming from Russ to knock it off on the front. We haven't named and shamed for a long time. There certainly seems to be plenty of 3s and 4s up in those numbers up there, it has to be said. It's definitely spreading people out. With 40 minutes in, 22k in at the moment, and this now definitely quite snake-like as it makes its way in. Looks like Russ just gone for a run up to the front to just see who's playing silly what's this on the front, and the answer is not too many people doing silly numbers, but just getting spread out on the way through. Now, our Red Beacon working well at the back here. Let's have a little bit of a check. Sonia Inslee, Super Sprinter Sonia on her way up. This feels quite hard. It should do. It is a horrible, horrible climb, this. It's not easy at all. Deliberately put in here because, of course, when you're on a training camp, it's not all easy. You know that if you have a nice run out, you might do an early hill, then there's a big hill in the middle, particularly if you go somewhere like Mallorca. You've got a massive hill to go over in the middle, then there's a run back down in. So let's have a little bit of a run up through. Looks like Terry Harrison in here, Chris Ball in here, Fiona Kestevan. Fiona back in with us as well. Got Edwards in from Chefrek, Tom Hager in here, Gary Toppling. Looks like Bolton in here. Mr. Briggs in the again. Tim Baggs in here. Tim, of course, I'm pretty sure one of our winners on the Veloskin giveaway, so Tim going to be getting some in. So somebody has indeed poked the bear We are also getting into the 20k mark. We've still got quite a long way up to the front. It is a tough climb, this at about half distance. So this is definitely going to be tough stuff on the way through. Quick reminder, guys, remember, the brakes are on until Russ gives that signal. Not sure where that's going to go. We don't get told that. That is all in Russ's hands, and it is going to be all about holding in. If the gang don't behave, then Russ quite often will not let that go at all. We have been known to take it all the way to the finish. Bobby Mason, one man we know is going to always play the game, tucked in nicely in there. So coming in and past those waterfalls, going up over our next bridge. Coming up across the top of the gorge at the moment, just watching Andy Caldwell as they come up onto the bridge over the top of the feeder out from the upper lakes. And you can just see still plenty of kickers on the way up, a little bit of flooding on the way through. So going to be heading around these twists and turns. We've still got a couple of really nasty kickers to come on our climb up here. So the gradient easing, those steps, giving people a chance to sprint back on again. But that last zigzag you can see just before coming across towards that red bit banner of the KOM. Now that is when things get really tough. We're up to about another 12% on that corner. And certainly on the test ride, it was a point, definitely a low point on my ride through the test ride up there. Thinking, oh my goodness, it's a long, long way back down from here. But this group's still tucked in, well, pretty much well together here. Looks like the bus just picking a few riders up, and that's going to mean they're going to be able to work together. They've got quite a few people to catch on the way through. It looks like we've got Carl Johnson, Stefano Barali, we've got Finch, Inslee, Terry Harrison in here. We've got Cootie, looks like Keith Hayward, Fiona Kestevan. These riders just distance, and what you're going to find is as we go through these left and right hand turns, things will get very, very interesting. It's going to be the steepest part. You were seeing an 8% gradient now, and this is not going to get any easier as we go through. I'm just going to jump in with Chris Iredale here. So the front ease over the top, the back squeeze in, and that will bring the group back together. Remember, we've still got the whole run back across to Neokyo and that final climb up to do yet. So the gang coming in towards this steep left-hand turn. You can see the numbers going up to a red. That means that we're going into the steepest section now, up to 10%. We're just watching Chris on this steepest section, the head honcho of the Veloskin team, who are looking after everybody on Veloskin Training Camp Week, who are members of the DCG gang. That 20% discount there. Just need to use the code that the members have emailed out. Don't forget, of course, you can join the gang, and all the details on the Facebook pages. Just going to the announcements part of the Facebook page, or onto the Donny Chaingang website pages as well. Now, let's have a little bit of a check where the back of this group is at the moment. They're just coming up on to the bridge at the moment. Not too many gaps. We've got Mr. Buchkirk through. Tuplin's made the back of that group. Edwards has. Hager has. We're going to just drop back a little bit. It's about 4 seconds to Kestevan. Another 3 to Jessup. Then it is going to be Beefy, who are on the way through. He's just got Terry Harrison. Inslee just coming up to those turns towards that tight turn. It's a bit further back. It's Ellis. Remember, we've not yet had those magic 3 words from Russ. We've come over the high point of the course as we come up over the top here. So we're up at the highest point on that course. Just riding in with Kai Hurst. Kai just jumped on the back of that leading group behind him, though. Those gaps are opening out at the moment. So the leader's up over the top of the high point. Now begins the long descent down. First of all, down to the edge of the main village in Makuri Islands, and then it's the faster run across to the tunnel that brings us into Neokyo, through the streets of Neokyo and up on to the climb. As far as I know, nobody changed bikes on the way through there. It's a risky tactic, but one that possibly makes life a little easier if you're struggling with the climb. This group are well together now, 46 minutes in, and 24k of the 42k underneath the wheels. So on to the gravel again. You can see at the back of this group, you can hardly see anything for the amount of dust that's being kicked up. So if you're at the back of this group, you've just got to push. Dobson here needing to push to get into the back of this pack. You can hardly see anything once you're in this group, such as the amount of dust being kicked up. It's where it pays to be super close to that yellow beacon, because you know that you're going to be in about the right kind of place at the moment. We're still kicking our way down this descent. You can just see this group has thinned down substantially already. So our beacon just coming in over the top here, the bus in through that top of the climb. Our yellow beacon that you see on the map in front already about to come down. Looks like yeah, and just distance from that main group. Remember what we always say, grab yourself a group of riders. This is a great example here. Got Alistair Cootie in the yellow, got Beefy, Colin Bell in the grey and the blue. In the green and blue, that is Keith Hayward. In here, groups of 2s and 3s are much faster. They will pick up riders. Just Saycel's group here with Kurt Mason in here. Hubbard's just distance from that front group. You can just see the pace hotting up here. There's Atkinson just sits on the back here. Archie's got to squeeze those pedals. He can't afford to let that gap go. Remember, we still not had that trigger from us. We're through the village. We've not got far before we're going to be heading back in towards those tunnels and into Neokyo for that final climb. You can just see at the moment this straight is absolutely moving. So nearly 15 minutes in, he's leaving it late today. Russ just sat at the back of this group. We're only going to have something like 15k left on the circuit. Phil Hubbard dropped on the descent. Got to Phil Hubbard. Don't leave those gaps. Can't afford to let them go. You see even Russ at the moment now just dropped off the back of that pack. You can just see everybody, the pace of that pack. They're not going silly, and it is just about the speed that the gang is doing. 1 moment's inattention, and you are paying for it for so long as you come down. And you can just see Russ now having to kick up at 9 watts per kilo to kick back into the group. The group in front not going mad. It's just the draft. 1 moment's inattention. If you have a phone call, if you put your bottle down, you're in trouble. Russ at the moment just having to squeeze on. He's not even let them go yet. They're still all holding the pace. This is going to be burning matches. Let's hope that the thing that distracted Russ wasn't the thing that we've been waiting for the past 9 months. And it was just dropping the phone or similar. As our riders are coming down and through now, they're going to come through. This is the start pens on the left-hand side where we see a lot of the Makuri Island rides start. You can just see them in the distance in the white. This group working well together at the moment. And nobody, I don't think, doing silly numbers. They're just the group working together at 2.5 watts per kilo is just distancing riders. You don't sit in the pack. But nothing come that I know from Russ at the moment. He's very quiet at the moment. Well, they're not going to get the signal at this rate because I don't think it's going to happen unless he makes contact. So down into the tunnels, our leading group goes. The gang are working to go back, or some of the gang working to go back for the Yellow Beacon. The Yellow Beacon just in conversation, having to sort out the back of the gang, just holding that together. Yellow Beacon's rolls of rolling it all together. We're coming in to the roundabout around the ancient temple and trees on the rock in the centre of the island at the moment. We're going to be making our way back in through downtown Neokyo, but at the moment this group just rolling through and getting everybody back in once again. So here on training camp we get everybody getting a serious workout on the front. So it looks like we're coming in. We are currently at 31.8, so sub 10k, sub 6 miles to go. We're back into downtown Neokyo at the moment. This group of riders are going to be coming in. They're going to be contesting this finish, and it is going to get some serious power. Now, those people who eased off for the Yellow Beacon got dropped, apologies. The numbers is all just about the gaps open. Once they open at the wrong time, then you end up in trouble. You can see here Paul Molyneux and Davis, riders who've dropped back for that beacon, just being distanced by that main group. Fortunately, not too many people suffering that fate, and we are really close to finish. This is the longest it's been for a while, due in part to the people riding on the front when the putting the numbers down on that climb and breaking the group up, well, not sticking around yellow. So remember, all about holding with that Yellow Beacon till that trigger point. Right, so the Go-Go-Go has gone. We're just in with Rob Wimble, who's made it into the pack of the Go-Go-Go. And this is where the real legs start to prove to themselves, show just why they are so quick. You see Neil Morn putting in some big numbers here. This group is going to get well spread out. You can see it turning very rapidly from one blob into a long string of riders. Just riding in with Russ tucked in behind all these. And this is where you see the familiar names coming up to the front. People like Cook, like Pillsworth, like Iredale, like Dale Williams in there, Isaac Oliver in there, Paul Simonite in as well. Like people who know just how to ride the Chaingang, and you can just see they're the ones who are dropping back, staying out of the wind, not doing the silly work at the silly time. You need to be putting it in at the right time. Good to see Joe Munden nicely tucked in with this group at the moment. Neil from the crosscast in there. Henry Fuller tucked in as well, just on the front. That looks like that is going to be Ganther, just seeing these riders come over. Sort of Kai Hurst up on the front, and now it looks to me like Archie's off for one. He's gone early here, so let's see how he goes. A really tough one tonight, and Archie Atkinson has gone hard on the front now. Now can they pull back? The Veloskin ambassador here, the Barrow cyclist, gone early. He's going to have his work cut out. Look at the train coming behind at the moment. They're not going to give anybody any space as they come in towards the start. Seriously tough stuff out here tonight, pulling that group back there straight away. We're just going to try and drop back in with our leaders here. Bevan Jones right up near the front here. Pendlebury's in, Costello's in this gang right on the front. It is all over the road at the moment. We're just getting jumped about like crazy between the various groups. Going to jump back in with Russ. He's our one of the reasons we have the beacons is because it lets us get into where we need to be and to see just what's happening up on the front once again. Now Costello goes over the top. You can just see the top of your screen. This is really tough stuff. Plenty of people with the matches burnt, easing up for Russ as they came through. Definitely now's the time when the real legs can do the talking. We're going to come around this U-turn and come back past the start. We're on 34.6. Remember, we're going to finish at about 42.1 when we hit the top of the climb, the reverse of the KOM. And now Greg Pillsworth just asked for a take on the way through. Take it easy. Greg, do some steady stuff going in. Nothing's worth struggling long term, because you've been working on the Chaingang. Now another attack, I think, or is it just a run through for the sprint? Are we going to see this group getting broken up on the front here? So Simonite tucked in here, Wilson's in here, Kai Hurst has gone on the front. He went on the front just to get a little bit of a gap going through that section. Now Pendlebury goes to the Sterling Bike Club up onto the front. So Wilson with him now, and you've got to watch out for Wilson here. He's going to be another of these quick riders who could well start to stretch it out. We've got Dan Hanson in here. We've got Wayne Bars right up in the mix. Tunnicliffe in here as well. Craig Genton, Neil Birmingham, Neil from the Crosscast from Gritty in here as well. Don't discount any of our youngsters on this climb. This is really grippy stuff. We've got about another, what is going to be about another 8k to go. So time is ticking down at the moment. Just seen Josh Malin tucked in. Oscar Saxton is, Ollie Saxton in here, sorry, Tom Lindley in this group, holding nice and smoothly. Morgan Lloyd had a flyer on Tuesday. He's nicely in this gang here. And it's like Oliver just tucked in. We go through another of these pretty much irrelevant sprint points on the Chaingang. It's all about who's going to get over the top. Look at this. Dr. D is in. Rowan Dubash tucked on the back. It's not all that long ago. Rowan was struggling post-COVID. Now tucked in with the gang. And coming in with that leading group at the moment, Keith Richardson in here as well. Russ just sitting on the back, sitting in the wheels of Dale Williams there on that Patron bike. Now, this is a little bit of a grippy moment coming up the climb. It gets tough on here. This little bit of a gradient, these false flats make the thing very difficult indeed. At the moment, you can just see Booth putting a bit of a squeeze on here, being followed, and Williams has gone early. So Williams wanted to not be sat in the pack. He wants to thin that down, I think, a little bit. He doesn't want to take the pure climbers up onto that climb. He wants to really wear those legs out, because if he takes a pure climber to the line, then Williams' power might not be enough to see him go clear at the top. Oliver chasing him down behind, but Williams putting in a big dig here. We're seeing some big red numbers, 8.2, 8.3 is coming from Isaac Oliver, just trying to close that gap. So the riders are just pulling that back together once again, and we can just see that the two Olivers got over the top. Now Lindley comes up, and I think we've seen up near the front for the first time some of the people who we expect to be right in at the kill. So we come in here now. Bevan Jones just rolling onto the front. I think we've got Thorpe just rolling through, Birmingham rolling through. These riders know exactly how to ride the Chaingang. Joe Munden tucked in here as well. Will Joe be the rider who's going to hand it all to them? Joe, of course, top class international rider, regular on the podium at national events, and got a fearsome kick too. Is she going to be finding this climb will suit her as they come up at the ascent on to the rooftop KOM. Remember, it's the reversal one, so this is absolutely mad. It is the leading group. There are riders and bodies all the way around Makuri Islands now, right the way from the climb over the far side. The red beacon just sweeping on the way down. This is the leading group, though, making its way down this straight coming in towards. This is going to be a really interesting. Remember, if you're not in the lead group, we will come back to you once this group goes in through the finish. We'll steadily work our way back through the riders. Please remember, guys, find a group, work together, make sure that you use that draft. Although we've got the big climb in the middle, we've got this little kicker on the end. It is all about making sure you use that draft your advantage. If you get distance, you saw what happened to Russ. A little gap opened up whilst he was busy having to sort out the riders further behind, and once that happened, then he was in trouble. Once those gaps go, now we're onto this little climbing section, and Russ has just put a big dig in now. You can just see Russ has gone on the front. He's got a feather flag, got in early here. He's got Wilson with him. He's got Costello and Cook in the mix. It levels again now. Just as seen Coleman moving up here as well. And this is where these riders, they need to get this effort correct really, really hard. This is about pushing all the way in to the top of the climb. And I think Russ now feeling those sort of legs go pop. He's had a rather busy week. He's got a little bit of stress coming up soon. Hopefully not too much. So quite rightly diving up and out of the way. Remember, this is the run in. It's a real long railway sprint, and this is just really grim. If you are not on the pace at the moment, you're going to really struggle now. Going over the top, Craig Genther just starting to wind this up. There are lots of trick points. There's no flat roads on the way in here. It's really, really mean stuff. Cook just with that big afro out on the right side of your screen. Coming through, Neil Birmingham moves up onto the front in the black. Then Jimmy Allen out on the right-hand side, disc wheel in, that Mondrian Levicle inspired kick goes in and through. You can just see a absolute flyer through at the moment, though, as they come through there. Ozike setting a new personal best as he comes through. Is he going to do that classic attack over the top? He's got a little bit of a gap here, and he could do some damage to that group if he continues to push. So on to this next section. We're almost going to pass directly below the KOM. It's going to be directly above our heads pretty much as we take this right-hand turn. We can't quite see, just see the arch just hidden behind the rider's top of your screen now. So we've got to basically weave our way right the way to the top of the climb. Behind, look at Dale Williams. Dale is in trouble here. He's been distanced by this leading group, and it looks like they are definitely not wanting to drag him up to the top of the climb. We're in with Williams. He's going across the gap at the moment. Behind it looks like Neil from the Crosscast, Joe Munden, Ryan Williams in that group. This has got firepower. These are strong riders in this group. At the moment, they are not able to hold the wheels, and Williams is going to make that junction, I think, on his own. But we'll look at this. Williams now pushes. Now Neil from the Crosscast comes as well. The leading group are pushing on at the moment. They're all together. This is Group 2, and they're trying to make this catch. There's not a lot between them and the riders in front. You can just see the back of that group just whipping its way around these turns at the moment. They've got to get across the gap. It's at 5 seconds now. We're heading up on to the upper sections. You can see the course weaving its way in and around at the moment. And at the moment, everybody now wants to be on the front. Nobody is going to give in here. Remember, those kilometres are ticking away. We've still got plenty to go to get in to the line. It's all the way to the red line at the top. You can see the twists and turns that are coming up for our riders, and it is really, really tricky. So let's have a look. Morgan Lloyd at the moment in the group in the GCN kit. Only does it just to make things difficult for everybody, but doing a great job at the moment. Morgan are having a great ride. And being one of having a great ride on Tuesday, another great ride this time round. But look at Cookie go on the front here. He's gone on to the very front. He has pushed hard at the moment. He's got the gap. Has he got enough here? He's got that feather flag in. Now it's Cook who's squeezing on those pedals. He's still got a fair distance to go. You can see the arch in the distance behind him. He's got to get around the twists and turns through the plaza just up ahead. He's got almost a full 180-degree turn behind him. Bevan Jones, Isaac Oliver, Dan Hepton, Dan Coleman, Dan Costello. Something about the name Dan. Tom Lindley, Craig Genther all pushing. They're a couple of seconds down, though. Now Genther comes on to the front. Genther moves hard here. He's starting to accelerate up. Isaac Oliver's putting a big kick from the back of this group, but it's Genther. Look at the express train coming through in that Donny Chaingang. Lightning Cycling coach kit, because it's Genther now. He goes to 10.1. He's got a kick. He's taking them away. He's taking them clear. Costello is right on the wheels here. And now Costello goes over the top. These three riders have a gap. There are literally about 200 metres or so to go. You can see the gantries just over round the side. Costello on the front. But now we see Coleman. It's been a while since Dan Coleman has taken a win on the Chaingang. Is it going to be today? He's got Bevan Jones coming up pace. So it's going to come down to these twists and turns between these riders. We're literally going to do the 180-degree turn. And look at this big kick in as Bevan Jones takes it. Bevan Jones in 1, Costello in 2, Coleman in 3, Hetson in 4. It was Birmingham in 5, Lindley in 6. Oliver goes through, Wilson. Mayland goes through as well. Next through goes Simonite with OZK. Then it's going to be Booth and Pendlebury. Behind then the next riders heading into the turn. It's going to be Pendlebury with Tupling behind him. It's really tricky. You've got to see that finish coming. You've got to get this turn dialed in just right. And it is that little kick into the finish. It's going to be Ryan Williams who goes through. Then it's going to be Saxton. Saxton just in front of Joe Munden. Munden, an absolute flyer up that climb there. And that is an incredibly quick time of the back of that climb. Neil from the Crosscast, Kai Hurst on his way in and through. Then it's going to be Morgan Lloyd, Andy Singleton, Nathan from Fellabest, Tony Cliff, Taylor, Oliver in and through. They're coming in thick and fast. It's Woodall, Corden and Gang coming through. They're going to be followed by Stedman, Templeman. Look at this. Dale Williams at the moment. He got absolutely annihilated on that climb. Well, Bevan Jones takes the win here today on the Donny Chaingang on the week that is Veloskin training camp, a week as we see the prolific winner Dale Williams obliterated by the gang on that climb. Pearson comes in behind him, and it's going to be the next run for the line. I think it's going to be Chris Gale who's going to take this. Russ has sensed that the gantry's coming, but Gale's going to take it. Then it's Russ Downings followed by Atkins. Dr. D comes through with Raccoon there. Then it's going to be Henry Fuller just leading across. Ian Bell, Bridgewood coming up behind. And then it's going to be Dixon there coming in ones and twos. This final climb, look at it behind. It is dot to dot on that climb there. Our riders just absolutely scattered everywhere on the way through. Richardson comes through in front of Sadler, Spencer, Taylor and Clark. Ian Brooks through, followed by I think it's going to be Greg Pearlsworth who goes in front of Taylor Leach. Leach with a sprint into the light just ahead of Kokin, Tukey and Chris Iredale. On the Veloskin, Wheat comes through. He's the man who he knows up at the front, but he's on his way back from injury. And I think that was a good ride on what was a very tough day by the boss of Veloskin. Remember, Carl Kapinski on his way through, Rob Wimbles, Bolton, Runner and Donahoe come through with Dave Scriven, Bags and Co. All these riders are whipping the way through the turn very fast. McDermott already on his way into the descent, as is Jarvis. So we're going to try and drop back. I think Chapel and Ball and Gang already in and through. So which means we're going to drop back. So Steve Cannon going to go through, one of our winners on Veloskin week. Then Dick Samall goes through behind. Then it's going to be Tracy Seeley, Terminator 2.0 comes in on the way into the line. So really tough stuff on the Chaingang. Next up on the climb, it's a little bit of a gap back now to Paul Mullin, and I think it's going to be Forrester in the gang here. This is a real good group here. They're on that run into the finish. And they've got basically the wiggles and the turns. It's a really tricky finish that makes people think. We love things that make people think about what they're doing on the Chaingang. It's much more entertaining than just having a straightforward finish. Everybody got a run at it. Everyone got to see this, so no excuses. Looks like we've got Ruth Taylor in here, who's going to be third of our female rows. It was Munden, followed by Seeley, followed by Taylor. I don't think we managed to miss anybody on the way through. And that final run, remember, you got this long, speedy section in around the turn, and you can just see, if we just jump in with Ruth, you are virtually impossible to see where that finish is. You come around this left-hand turn. The gantry is just lined up in front of you. Very easy to miss if you don't get this turn correct. And it looks like Rob Varty is going to lead this group. So it's going to be Varty coming through And he's going to come in ahead of Stapleford from the gang, who goes in and through. Taylor at the back of that group. Next up should be Briggs coming around those turns in for the finish. He's ahead of Davis, Caldwell and Mason. Still lots of people out on that course. Really, really busy day out on the circuit. So Briggs through, Davis now coming and lining himself up for the finish line here, being chased by Caldwell, Mason Cootie, Fiona Kestevan, Claire Jessup, Purple Ronnie, Colin Bell on his way up. It's going to be Caldwell, the next of our riders, making the way in and through that straight. So just making his way in through. It's going to be Caldwell, our next rider, comes around that U-turn and lines himself up for the finish here. So great ride by Caldwell, just ahead of Mason. Mason with company, because I think Fiona Kestevan is coming in at pace. She knows the finish is not far ahead. I think there's got a little bit of a squeeze on here behind. Claire Jessup is challenging, though. Going to be a real fight between these two, Kestevan and Jessup. Remember, right-hand turn alongside the wall here. And then these two riders are going to see it level out. The moment it levels out and you have our vending machine person on the left hand side, and they're always there, the world's slowest vending machine in the world ever.com, then you have this run in now. It looks like Alistair Cootie knows exactly where he's heading. He's pushed on in this last section. Kestevan and then Jessup. That's the red gantry in front of them. Really easy to miss in this. And Cootie is putting in a big old kick. He's up at 5.6. The man in yellow is going to be the first of the riders in and through. He goes in over the line. Then it's going to be Fiona Kestevan who comes in just ahead of Claire Jessup. Bobby Mason lining himself up now will be our next rider in ahead of Purple Ronnie, Beefy, Keith Hayward, Carl Johnson, Sonia Izzy, Stefano Barelli. So a good ride by Bobby again. Purple Ronnie comes through. He's got 16 seconds at the line from Beefy from Cycleways, and it doesn't seem like 16 seconds because Beefy already coming around this long turn. He's got Keith Hayward immediately behind him, but Colin from Cycleways on the way through. Now, do love the fact that Morgan Lloyd does get confused with Manon Lloyd. We do get Manon Lloyd come on as well as Morgan. Well, one stage we actually have Morgan and Manon both on the Chaingang. So it is easily done, but Morgan and Manon, two very different people. Morgan do some great riding on the Chaingang over the last couple of weeks, getting quicker and quicker. Wow. Hardest DCG's ever done from Bobby Mason. Well, I'd agree with that, having done the recce rise on it. We didn't say it was going to be easy. It's the Donny Chaingang. It's going to be hard. It's going to be tough. But you know what? It was pretty brutal. And I think I could see this course being used again. You never know when we're feeling mean and you want to really push you to your limits. A real mix of everything and a tricky finish now. How can super sprinter Sonia get this right ahead of Stefano? Stefano, I think, has got the measure of this, though. He knows it's not far. Look at this now. Stefano has worked out that he's got to go early enough to stay ahead of Johnson on his way through here. Carl Johnson keeps on putting in a kick. It levels down and we're into Carl Johnson territory here. He's on the heels of Barelli at the moment. Will he be able to take Barelli? He engages the power up, but what has the climb done to his legs? This is absolutely brutal stuff here, because when you get to the top, it's at the end of the Chaingang, and you've got that run into the finish at the moment. It is going to be Barelli who could get this. I think Johnson has conceded. He's waved the white flag, and it looks like Barelli's going, oh, he's not. He's going, oh, he timing just wrong from Carl, doesn't quite get it. So Stefano from Johnson, from Finch, from Super Sprint to Sonia. Sonia comes through, I think, 5th female rider today, if my maths is right. Apologies if it's not, it will be the first time it's wrong. So Sonia coming through from the Bolsover and Dare Street squad. Ahead of Ken Kerrigan. Ken from the Chef Rex squad just making his way in to those turns. Still a few people out and about, out and around the course. That was a tough day at the office, I think, for lots of our riders. Just making the way in and through our red beacon here, making the way up these turns with Ash Dowtree and Steve Ellis coming in and through. This is the final run in to the finish to come around this turn, as you can see, with Fuji in the background, and then running in, and then we've got that run down into the warm down section to do. A great ride by our riders. Well done to everybody who's been out on the ride today. We'll just stick with Steve as he starts to descend. Now we're going to let Russ dive straight off. He's got more important things than the Chaingang to think about coming up very shortly. Russ scheduled to be back with us next week, but all that is likely to change over the weekend. It is a very, very important weekend. So if Russ is not here with us next week, then don't forget we have Jimmy Allen standing in for him on the Tuesday and Thursday. So our riders on the way down to the warm down. It's been a massive, massive week on the Donny Chaingang. We've had 2 cracking routes. We had Out and Back, and we had Chasing the Sun today. All part of Veloskin training camp week. Now, we've got to say a big thank you to Chris Ida, to all of the Veloskin ambassadors, from George Mahoney right the way through to the gang coming through the finish now, to Archie and all of the team at Veloskin. Thank you very much for coming on, to Amy Gornall, as well as seeing Joe Wilson in there. A huge range of riders supporting the Chaingang. And of course, don't forget, guys, make sure you support the people who support your sport. If you're a member of the DCG gang, don't forget, of course, the Veloskin discount, 20% if you're a member of the DCG gang. Great stuff to get, and it will keep you moving smoothly as well as aerodynamic as well. Now, we finished Veloskin week on the top of the rooftops. Russ potentially going to be seeing a little baby bear very shortly. Next week is another busy week. It kicks off actually on Monday, where our yellow beacon on the WOW DCG, Emma, is going to be on a Q&A in Sheffield as part of the Women in Cycling Sheffield, supported by Full Speed Events. And that means that on the Wednesday, which is the WOW DCG, we're going to have that open to riders from the Women in Cycling in Sheffield as well. We have, of course, Tuesday and the Thursday Chaingangs as well next week. So it's going to be Monday, the talk over in Sheffield, at the pub in Sheffield. Go on to Emma's post, follow her on social media. That's Biking Emma. And then on Tuesday, it will either be Russ or Jimmy Allen. More likely to be Jimmy Allen, but you never know. On the Chaingang, leading the Chaingang on the Tuesday. On the Wednesday, it's WOW DCG led by Emma. And then on the Thursday, it will be the Jimmy or Russ. And if it's still Russ at that point, we're going to be telling him to go home. So remember, we've got a busy week coming up. We've just had an amazing Veloskin week. We've still got loads more giveaways to come on the DCG gang, so make sure you join up. You can do that on the Facebook pages. You get the links on there. You get all of the kit coming in. And remember, please, guys, stay safe. Enjoy your riding. From me, Matt Payne. Follow me at Matt Fix the Pain on social media or on Strava, on Zwift. From Russ, from Emma, from Jimmy, and everybody from our Red Beakers who volunteer. And of course, from the team at Veloskin. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your riding, and we'll see you next week on the Donny Chaingang.